Welcome to the Speak Your Piece podcast. My name, Ian McNaughton, Big E here, as some people call me. Pleased to be joined by friend of the pod, Jevon Lefebvre. Jevon from Left Side Heavy. What's going on, man? What's happening? What's new with you?
Nothing much, man. I mean, obviously finished school a couple weeks ago. Feels good to finally get that weight off your shoulders. And then just stressing about Christmas shopping. I still like my mom's like, what do you want for Christmas? And I still don't even know. I'm just like giving her some sort of ideas just so she gives me something to open, but nothing too much, man. Nothing too much. How about you, man?
I'm doing well. It's funny you talk about Christmas shopping. So I was in Squamish for like last week. So I've been helping out with my grandparents, like setting up a tree, setting up Christmas stuff, and yada yada yada, eating all the good baked goods that my grandmother makes.
Yep.
And they have the same conversation, like, what do you want for Christmas? What can I get you? And it's just like, I don't know, a book. Like I don't really need anything. Yeah. Whereas, my dad, being the smart guy that he is, so my birthday is, if you don't know, my birthday is on November 7th. So this year he did the birthday and Christmas tie-in.
Yeah.
Where he got me tickets to the Canucks Kraken game
on
cool. December 27th. So he's like, hey, I'm giving this to you, on your birthday, but this is also your Christmas gift, which I'm just like, sure, you got me tickets. Fair enough. I'm happy. Yeah. I'm not going to argue with that. Lower bowl tickets to the Canucks Kraken game that now might not even happen. Who knows?
It could shape out to be that way.
Well, and one of the things, so my brother and I this year just said we're giving each other one beer. That is our Christmas gift to each other. It's just one singular beer. So
like a tall boy, like fancy IPA, or just like a silver bullet, like just a Coors Light.
We didn't say anything. Like, we were pretty ambiguous about that. We just said one beer. So I don't know if he's going to listen to this, but I basically just got him what was at the display case at the front of the liquor store when I went the other day. It's like some big, like, bottle, like $10 thing that I got. So, like, I hope he likes it.
Give him the warm Coors Light I had in my golf bag.
I'm purposely just gonna buy a Coors Light and put it next to my fireplace for the next week, and then present it to him when I pick him up to go home for Christmas.
On like a skillet, because it's.
I'm just gonna like flipping it. It's like a burger, just flipping it.
Give it a quick shake before you give it to him with a bow on it.
Yeah, there you go. That's Christmas.
That is Christmas. Yeah, I my girlfriend just wanted books and stuff for Christmas, so she gave me her Amazon wish list of like the books that she wants to read, and she gave me like two authors. There's like 6 different authors in her wish list, and she's like, these 2 authors are like my favorites, but any book you get me off this list I'm okay with. So I got the one that was on her top priority. Ooh. And then it turns out that it's not going to get here until like January 18th.
Oh.
But her birthday's the 23rd. So I'm like, I guess that's your birthday present.
You're doing the same thing my dad did. It's just tying it in. It's like, this is your Christmas and birthday gift.
So like now I don't need to get her a birthday gift. Now I just need to, I wasn't planning on getting her birthday gift right now, but I just did. So then I'll just have to spend a bit extra.
You're killing Christmas 2 birds with one. You're killing 2 birds with one stone, essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So I got a birthday gift taken care of already, but now I just need to take care of the rest. I have like 7 people to buy for, and I only have like 2-3 gifts right now. So I gotta designate a day and just hammer it out, and then I'm finished with it.
This is a big week for Jevon then.
Oh yeah. I got 2 recordings on Monday. Ooh. And then it could be a heavy week, but I'm trying to get all like my recording and editing done on like Monday and Tuesday, so then I can like chill out for the rest of the week into the new year.
There you go. But there you go.
Yeah, that's about it.
I was gonna say, is your girlfriend's probably not into like the history, geography, type books that or like biographies that I am. Like when we went golfing with Brando in the summer at Furry Creek, like Brandon and I were just like hitting it off about provincial legislative buildings and the architecture behind that. I take it your girlfriend probably isn't into that.
She's into like these mafia romance novels. It's interesting.
That's interesting.
Yeah, it's she always has some sort of FaceTime call or Snapchat video about every single night about the book that she read that day. So
Okay.
she's gone through like trauma reading some books, I swear. But it also kind of helps her because she like with this class that she's studying, it's I don't even know how to like describe it. It's like the study of like different like I don't want to get too gruesome here, but it's
No,
like
please.
these
This is the Speak Your
like
Piece podcast.
yeah,
Get as gruesome as you want.
it's like these like it's like not necessarily a sexual assault class, but that's a lot about like what they study and like a lot of the books that she reads isn't necessarily sexual assault novels, but it like kind of ties into what she's studying. So she's like, I just read like an entire novel. I basically studied tonight, right? Like I studied for
Mm.
my final reading this book. So it's kind of funny what she's into and like what she's studying. But yeah, I can never really get a complete grasp on what she's into. I kind of just have to like blindfold, shoot an arrow, or throw a dart, and it's like, okay, I'll get that book. You know?
I think you'll like this. And it's like
Yeah.
and then like the one time it's like, I've always wanted this. This is great.
Yeah.
You know me
Yeah.
so well. It's like,
Yeah. And then she's like, yeah, I'm just gonna like, go to Chapters for no reason right now. And then she just exchanges it.
hey, while we're hanging out, do you mind if we stop at Indigo or whatever at Park
Yeah.
or Metro Town? I
Yeah,
just gotta go
exactly.
check something out.
Yeah, for sure. She like does like, hey, what's that? Just quickly exchanges the book.
That
Uh,
rocks.
that's
Uh,
amazing.
so we were gonna have SYP creator Scott on here, but he blew
Uh,
us off to why did you think he blew us off? I mean, we know why he, blew us off, but you can make up any reason.
um he hmm, he got accepted into the next season of The Bachelorette. So
Oh, hell yeah.
he had to catch a flight. That's why he can't make it tonight.
Ooh, that's a better reason. And I was gonna say like he, to train for a triathlon this summer, he's swimming across Georgia Strait,
Yeah.
actively in the December cold. He is currently he's almost to the active channel. He's almost to he's almost to the Gulf Islands as we
Is
speak.
it what's that thing that like everyone gets together for? Is it like the polar swim, the polarized swim, or like
Yeah, isn't
the
that a New Year's Day thing? A polar bear swim?
yeah, I don't know what it is, but that's what he's doing. It's just he's swimming
Yeah,
across the
but
width of the river.
it's just him. There's nobody
Yeah,
else doing it.
just him.
He's just
Yeah,
doing his own polar bear swim.
yeah. That's
That's why
exactly
Scott.
it.
That's why Scott can't make it tonight because Scott wanted to do a World Junior preview, so he's not here. So we're not gonna do the World Junior preview. Scott and I are gonna do that next week. Scott and I also have plans to go watch the Canucks Ducks game next week, so we're hoping to get some hashtag content from that game.
If
And
that happens.
if that happens, and he can see, his male crush Trevor Zegras. I'm guessing that's who it is. Mine's Troy Terry for the Ducks, but
Oh, mine's Troy Terry too. I picked him up in fantasy, and he's just been blessing me.
he's pretty good. I'm not gonna lie.
He's
Um,
yeah, he's doing well for himself right now.
so Jeff and I are going to talk about hockey mostly during this podcast. He might have a tangent on Mac Jones and his Patriots and why my Seahawks suck, but that's probably for later on. Let's start with the big news with the NHL and COVID, because that seems to be the big thing going on. Is it now 60 players I heard today got added to COVID lists throughout the NHL?
Yeah, it's something like that. Like everyone's just dropping like flies right now. It's unbelievable. And I mean, some of the tests that I've seen, they're putting protocol, but then like within 24 hours, they're like getting negative tests back. So like I don't know if a lot of them are false positives, but I mean, nonetheless, like every single Elliot free my God, what just
Insider
happened there?
Elliot Friedman.
Yeah, insider Elliot Friedman. I have his Twitter notifications on. And every
Oh
single
God.
tweet that comes up is this player's added to protocol. This player's added to protocol. This game's postponed. It's yeah, it's unbelievable. Like Jonathan Drouin came out today. He said that he has like some discomfort playing Boston with everything that's going on over there. It's a funky situation for sure.
Listen, I love Elliot Friedman, but I already have enough anxiety in my life that I don't need Elliot Friedman Twitter notifications on the regular
Yeah.
popping up in my life. because I would just have so much stress over these days of like, oh shit, that guy's in protocol now.
Yeah, it's unbelievable. It's pretty crazy. Just once it hits a couple people, then it's like a wildfire.
Well, I think it's safe to say it's impacting everybody. Like it's impacting everybody in the NHL, and even like the LA Lakers who share a facility with the LA Kings, like like they both have cases. Like there's probably some transmission going on there. Tonight was the first game this season played behind an empty arena with no fans in the Montreal Philly game.
Yeah.
I know you talked about this on your podcast this week, but and it's taken off quite a bit since you probably recorded this week, but where do you see the league going in these next few days, weeks, as cases increase?
Man, I think they should shut it down for like a couple weeks at least. And I don't know if that means just shutting it down now into the new year. But I would say like just instead of the All-Star break happening, just like nothing happens so everyone can rest up and stuff, and like at least hold the spread. Like I don't know the
slow it down. Like, you kind of just need to
prevent the spread. Like prevent the spread at least. But I mean the NHL makes too much money off the All-Star game that they won't cancel it, especially with lack of revenue coming in the past couple of years. So I think they should just shut it down until like the new year, maybe. But I don't know, man. It's such a tough situation because they're finding ways around it. But the more you replace guys, then they're going to be added to protocol, and it's just going to be a revolving door within organizations, and nothing's going to be like isolated. It's just going to be constant until the playoffs, and then we might have to go into another bubble, which like no one wants. That's a fact. So I don't know. I'm pretty uncertain about it. I don't know what's going to happen, but yeah, I would say shut down for a couple of weeks.
Kind of take your Christmas vacation, essentially. If you're the NHL and probably the NBA, and even really football, like I wouldn't. I know football probably wouldn't do it, but I wouldn't be upset if all these leagues were just like, hey, we're going to take a couple weeks off. We're going to help, try and slow it down, and we'll get back to you January 4th, and we'll see what's new and where we're at. And I mean, this is also coming from the same guy like myself who has tickets to hockey games, who works for a hockey team, a junior hockey team. Like the health should be more important than the actual financials. Yeah. But that's easier said than, telling that to an owner and a commissioner of 30 teams who are billion-dollar teams, essentially. Well, unless you're the Coyotes. But like
quick jab.
But I just like that, like that's the whole thing, is that I really don't know like where we're gonna go and what the next step is here. Like I like to be a problem solver, and I don't know how you solve the problem other than just not playing for 2 weeks and seeing where you're at.
Yeah, I'm in agreement too. Like if you're gonna shut it down, when do you shut it down? Do you shut it down immediately? Like how do you reschedule games? How is that gonna happen? Where are you gonna slot the games in? Like are you gonna push the playoffs back again? Like, and we're gonna be playing into July, like, and then the short off season, are you gonna take it down to 70 games next season so that you can push it later into the summer? Like, how are we gonna do this? And I'm sure the NHL doesn't want to go into the summer again and then have another shortened season. It's not gonna be like a 50 game season next year if we push it back. It would just be 72, take 10 games off each team. So it's a hard thing to judge because it's a situation where you can't necessarily make every team happy.
And yeah, like the Canucks are hot right now. Like that,
yeah,
like that
exactly.
would be a real slap in the face, I'm sure, to the Canucks. Like, hey, we're doing well right now. And even though like Tucker Poolman and
Luke Shen is in protocol, Brandon Sutter's been in protocol. And who else?
But it's kind of like
Some of
I
us
was gonna say.
wasn't there.
I was gonna say it's kind of like what you say. Like is now rock bottom that now you should be stopping games. Like I don't know if it get
Yeah.
like I don't know if you can get worse than this. That's just what I really don't know. Like I don't have the answers, and I'm sure the medical people don't have any of the answers. Like I'm sure the doctors probably don't know like what the next step would be other than shutting it down, and the league probably doesn't want to do it.
Yeah, I don't think the league wants to shut it down at all because once again, they have a projection of the cap going up by $1 million next year. And if they shut it down, then that might not happen. And I think they want to stay on course, so they don't want to risk losing any money, but also the health of the players are at risk. And like, you know, like recovery, it wouldn't be the same for any of the players. And remember when the Canucks had like 21 players on COVID protocol, and then they had a week to come back and play. And JT Miller came out and said, like NHL, this is bullshit. Like we all are just coming off COVID, like our whole entire team, and you're making us play like right away.
You're playing 15 games in 30 days to end a season that wasn't going to the playoffs. Like you weren't going to make the playoffs anyways.
Yeah. So it's such a hard situation to manage. And there's like, is there even a right answer? I think there's just like a solution. Like it's almost like you can't really give them a choice. Like, I mean, I know the Olympics, they are giving the players the choice, and they have up until the day before the Olympics to like, yeah, like I don't think like I'm not down for this, whatever. So I know they're giving the players a choice in that, but I think for this protocol within the NHL, I think they just need to be like, okay, this is what's happened, and everyone deal with it. Whether you're happy or angry, this is what's happening. We'll go on pause for a week, see how everyone is, see if anything's been isolated, how the teams are doing, how the players are doing. It's almost like lockout or a strike or whatever. Like they just push back dates. It's like NHL set to resume December 27th. Sit out for a bit. It's the only thing that kind of makes sense right now. But also there's a lot of teams who like the Canucks who are hot right now, but teams like Edmonton, they could use the break because they're on a slump. So yeah, I think they just need to be firm with the decision because it's a situation where you can't make every team or owner or GM or players happy. So yeah, I don't know. They need to do something though.
Well, and I think this is kind of going kind of like what we've seen with like kids going back to school or people going back into workplace. Like I don't know if there's one right way of doing it.
Exactly.
Like I don't know if there's a right, like this is like, yes, this is the obvious thing we need to do and we're going to do it right now. Like I don't know if there is that. It's just a matter of like telling people, hey, this is a serious medical situation. We have to look out for the safety and best interest of our players. Here we are. Who says no?
It's they just need to be set on like, okay, this is happening. Here's a memo. NHL shutting down. Say what is this? The 16th today.
I have no idea.
As we're recording, let's say it is. This sounds about right. Yeah, the 16th. Yeah. Thursday the 16th. As of December 19th, we are shutting down until January 4th. Everyone gets the break until the New Year off. Let's see how the teams are. We'll push the playoffs back until instead of April, we'll do beginning of June, and then playoffs will start. I don't know. Like I don't know.
And for even for the players' sake, at least then you get to be home with your kids. Like you get to be home with your wife and kids for the week and your family and whatever, and get some time away from the ice rink. Like I'm sure there's been a lot of stress of people coming back to the arena, coming back to the rink every day. Like we've seen it with like Carey Price. It's been a bit challenging for him. We've seen it's been a challenge, I'm sure, for some of these like Austin Matthews, like another guy who's dealing with a wrist injury, who's trying to make his way back into he's obviously killing it, but he had a bit of tough time getting started. So I think that wouldn't be a bad idea. Just taking a week or two off, having the players go hang out with their families for 2 weeks, and we'll reconvene in Jan 4th and we'll get the season going again, and then we'll figure it out as we go along.
Because even if you shut it down like right before the holidays, what if someone tests positive and they can't be with their families while like during Christmas? If you shut it down now, you give people time to at least get a chance to recover from the symptoms. They can spend the holidays with their families, come back in the new year.
Yeah.
Everyone's well rested. Everyone is hopefully healthy to an extent. The spread has somewhat died. Give everyone a raise to sanitize the like arenas and everything.
Arenas,
And
practice facilities.
exactly. Give everyone a boost in pay for like what, a couple bucks an hour extra to like, hey, let's grind this out.
Here's some overtime.
Yeah. And let's try and isolate this virus so that we can resume the season and basically press the reset button.
Yeah.
We're at the halfway point. Let's press the reset button. Let's try and isolate and prevent any more of the spread. Let's shut it down until the new year. Let's just do this. And maybe the first game back will be the Winter Classic.
There you go. I don't mind that. And I'm sure we're going to have enhanced protocols probably for the rest of the year, I'm guessing.
Yeah.
Like we're going to be, everybody's got to be wearing masks. Everybody's probably going to have boosters. The whole 9 yards. Everything we were doing last year, we're probably going to have to do that again for the rest of this season just to make sure we're all safe and healthy.
I got a question for you.
I might have an answer for it.
With the boost in with how this spread has happened, do you think the NHL goes to more baseball style scheduling next year?
I hope so. I don't think they will, but I hope so.
Islanders, you're over in Vancouver. You're going to play back to back there, and then you're going to play Edmonton and then Calgary. You're going to stay in that province and then like try and make it a baseball schedule, get all the games between them out of the way. And then
I don't mind that. I think Jonathan Toews like talked about that quite a bit. Even like pre-COVID, like Jonathan Toews talked about that quite a bit.
Let's do series. Like
sure, you play, you play 2 games in 3 nights in Nashville, and then you get to go on to like Raleigh or something to go play the Hurricanes. Like, it wears on players going from hitting up Nashville, Dallas, and St. Louis in 5 nights and not getting accustomed to any of it. Which is why I would like to see like a baseball style of scheduling. I just don't think it'll happen.
Yeah, I don't think it'll happen either. But I mean, I'm sure a lot of the spread has come from like going through in and out through customs and like airports and traveling. Like
we're doing more normal things now, so it's not totally surprising. I think they should play less game. Like the NHL should play less games in general. Like I think they could just do
72.
I would even just like you get you do like a home and away versus every team. Like you get 62 games and you get a home and away, and then you can have like longer playoffs. You have more teams in the playoffs. Like I'd love to see like a 32 team or a 30 team playoff with like your 2 shittiest teams not making it, and then like have like a best of 3 for like your first round, so then you can increase playoff revenue. But that's like something like that I think would be interesting. But in terms of how they do the current model, just do fucking 2 games in Florida and in 4 days, and you get to go back to Toronto or wherever and call it good.
Because when you cut down games, you prevent back-to-backs, and then you prevent the condensed schedule of like if they went down to like say 70 games.
Yeah.
Right? Then that gives more time between away games for teams to travel. They can stay back, test. Okay, we're fine. Let's go to the next venue. Keep the same length, same start and end date, but less games. So it gives teams more time between games so that they have time to like, do I have it?
Well, and like even having a taxi squad. Like, I don't know what, like, in hindsight, why don't we have a taxi squad?
Yeah, they had it for the playoffs. Why can't you just do it for the regular season?
Why
is that your Black Aces though?
I mean,
kind of, but
it's
a bit smaller. It's a bit smaller.
You have 3 or 4 guys. You don't need 5. You have 3 or 4 guys, and like you have a goalie, you have a forward, and you have a D-man. And if it gets really out of hand, like nobody, like I never thought it would get this out of hand. Like I thought we would probably have a few COVID cases. I never thought it would get this out of hand.
I didn't think it would get this like this either.
And that's what the taxi squad, like, even if we had like 3 players, it wouldn't make much of a difference because like literally 3/4 of the Flames are gone. 2/3 of the Flames are gone.
It's
because
crazy.
of COVID. So, yeah, you talked about Olympics earlier. Let's hit on the Olympics part of this. So the NHL was supposed to go to the Olympics. What was their start? I don't know what schedule was it. Feb 9th, I think they were supposed to go to the Olympics. That's what the schedule I think has. It's like first game is Feb 9th on the men's side, and then they end at the end of February, and then they come back late in February, whatever. So I'm pretty sure it's off now, like NHL players going over. But is there a chance Bettman's just for labor negotiations? Bettman's just like, you guys can go if you want. You guys go to China. Because I think that means, in a way, I think that means more to him than the actual player safety. But I do think that it's most players with these rules are probably not going to go, like with the quarantine and such, if they get positives.
Yeah, I don't think NHL's going. You saw Steven Stamkos come out and say, if I'm given the opportunity, I'm going. So you see some NHLers still in for it, and you understand Steven Stamkos' side.
Yeah.
He was brought in 2008. He almost made the 2010 team. Wasn't quite established yet. He breaks his leg right before the 2014 Olympics, and then NHL doesn't go to 2018. This is his last chance.
This is his last kick at the can to win gold.
Yeah. And how devastating would it be to see Steven Stamkos? He scored 60 goals in the NHL, and we've never seen him play in the Olympics.
It's crazy.
How it's devastating as a hockey fan.
Yeah.
Right? He's one of my favorite players ever. I love Stamkos. And to see him not, like, some people don't even have him like making this year's Olympics. Like, some people have other people over him. And I understand the player's side, but I mean, the protocols are insane. Like, if like the day before you leave, if you test positive, you have to stay over there for like a month and a bit.
Weeks.
Yeah, like 3 to 5 weeks.
Yeah.
It's crazy. So I don't think the NHL goes, just because owners are going to be stubborn and be like, if we lose our guy for like 3 weeks in the midst of a playoff run, then I'm going to be pissed. So
here's the other thing I wanted to talk about. Like, obviously, with COVID, we have these new variants coming out. We have increased cases.
Yeah.
But now we're probably going to have, I think if we haven't already, by the time this comes out, we're going to have new border restrictions. But I'm curious to know, do you think there are players who are still, like, you still think, like, do you think Stammer's still going to go? If Stammer gets the choice.
I think he goes if he's given the choice. So that, like, are you going to see like a Mason Raymond, Steven Stamkos, and Jason Megna first line for Team Canada? Yeah. Like, it's going to be like, are you going to get a mix of KHL guys and NHL guys in the Olympics? It's going to be weird.
Well, so the other 2 players I was thinking about, who I think would go yes, who would go if given the opportunity, who would say yes. I think Marc-Andre Fleury would go.
Yeah.
If given the opportunity. And I think the other guy is Carter Hart.
Why do you say Carter Hart? Just because he's a young guy and wants to go?
Young guy and the Flyers stink.
Yeah, true.
The Flyers aren't going to make the playoffs this year. If Carter Hart gets the opportunity to go win gold, I think he just goes and does it.
Fair enough. And he's a goalie that is capable. Like, he's not that he would just be on the team just because they're out of goalies. Like, some people have him being like the third goalie or second goalie. So it's not like he doesn't deserve to be on the team. Same with Fleury.
I was going to say, it's probably going to, if we're going to have this mix of like randos, and I mean, I guess he's an NHLer, we'll have Fleury, Hart, and like Dustin Tokarski is going to be the third goalie. Like, we're just going to have like that kind of team go.
And do you think they increase their roster size to, like, say, it's at 22 right now, I think.
Yeah, the button might put it up to 30.
Yeah, like to 30, have their own little taxi squad. But what if the taxi squad gets COVID and it's like, okay, now we're out of players. Imagine that. It's like, yes, we have a backup plan. It's like, boss, our taxi squad all tested positive. It's like, oh well, all right. There goes that plan.
Well, they might allow like China to have 50 players on their team to like try and be competitive with Canada and the US.
10v5.
Yeah, 75. Well, it's like one of those, questions of like, instead of like how many fourth graders do you think you could take on at once? It's like how many, Chinese hockey players do you think you could take on at once? And for Connor McDavid, it's like probably 1,000.
The number doesn't exist.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, part of me thinks that the majority of players probably aren't going to go. I'm sure we're going to see like a few guys who make their own personal choice to go. Like, I think Ovi would go.
Well, he's Russian, bro. His COVID shot was like a 2/6 of Grey Goose, and then he's fine.
I think Ovi goes.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm trying to think of who else like has the like potential to go. Like, I don't know if the Canucks go back to what they were before. Probably PD goes. Probably Quinn goes. Like if they go back on a losing streak.
So Team Canada probably sent an invitation to what? 40 to 50 players.
I was gonna say probably 50
for like camp, just to like tryouts and stuff. Do you think they increased that number? Do you think they sent out like a memo to like the top 70 Canada players and they're like, "Okay, would you be comfortable going to the Olympics? Yes or no?" And the amount of people who said yes, they invite to camp. So like players, say a player that stands out to me, for example, Tyler Seguin.
Yes.
Right. I don't see him on the Olympic team, and I don't think anyone does. But for example, if Canada's low on numbers, but he's willing to go, would they just like open up their camp and tryout to like a bunch of Team Canada players that weren't even on their list, but they're like, we need guys to go. And if say that these 30 Canadians who are willing to go and they're the best of the people who said yes, will take and play in the Olympics. Do you think it could be that kind of thing?
Possibly. I think it's maybe 50 to 75 guys reach out and then they'll take whoever says yes. But I mean, it might mean that you're taking on Zach Hyman or you're taking on there's another, I guess Mangiapane's actually had like a decent season. Like people
Mangiapane will probably like be on the team. He might be an extra.
Yeah, I'm trying to think. Matt Duchene, there's a guy. Matt Duchene might actually like make Team Canada this year because of people.
I'm still taking any NHL over any person in the K.
Well, you're gonna disrespect. Is Kyle Wellwood still playing?
No. Is he still using that wood blade and 2-piece stick?
I honestly don't know if he is. Kyle Wellwood. I'm gonna.
He might be in the Spangler Cup this.
Oh, that's a good point, actually. According to Wikipedia, he retired after the 2014 season. So Kyle Wellwood, not relevant. Tough look for Ian. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. I'm sure you're going to have players who are going. I don't think the majority of NHL players are going, and I don't know that the majority of them should. I don't know if I would go to China. I don't think I would.
Yeah, it depends where I'm at. If
you're on the Coyotes, you're probably going to the Olympics.
Not even that. If I'm in Stamkos' situation.
Yeah, okay.
And I'm like, this is my last chance to play in the Olympics. I've never played in the Olympics. I don't care. I want a chance at a gold medal. I'm going.
Yeah.
And what's Tampa's GM? What's his name?
Julian Breezeball.
Breezeball. He's like, sorry, Breebs. I'm going. You can I'm sorry, but you guys are getting Cooch back soon anyway. Like, you'll be fine.
As they say in Canada, peace out, and then Stammer just leaves the room and then takes the first flight to Beijing.
Yeah. So if I'm in Stamkos' situation, I'm going. But if I'm in I don't know, Do you go if you're McDavid?
Yeah, probably not. Do you go if you're Draisaitl?
Yeah, because he's Team Germany.
Oh, come on. Don't disrespect Mo Sider like that. Mo Sider rocks, dude. Okay. That's fair. It depends on each player situation. Me personally, I don't know if I would go, but who knows? I'm not like everybody else.
Yeah,
That's just
fair.
That's just how it is. Let's talk about. Let's move it. Let's segue here to your Vancouver Canucks, who are back, baby. The Canucks are back.
Best team in the league, man.
They're. Oh, I was gonna say I have their game on the side here, but I went to commercial. 5 straight before tonight's game against San Jose. Bruce Boudreau kicking ass. Jim Rutherford kicking ass. Are the Canucks now legit? Like, are they like somebody to be thought of highly now? Or is this just a bit of a heater?
I really don't know what to make of this team because I want to be all in, but I'm like, is that the best case scenario to actually go? Because when we were shit, I was like, tank for right. Like, let's just like this season's washed. Like, let's go for the best pick. And now we're like potentially 5-0, 5.5 minutes left against San Jose. I'm like, I don't know. I'm in such a weird spot. I'm like, I'm just gonna enjoy it. Whatever happens, happens. I think that's where I'm at.
You're kind of going all in with like a king and an 8 here. Like, it's not a bad hand, but like at the same time, it's not a great hand either that you're rolling with.
Yeah, I'm loving Bruce. I'm loving the energy the team's bringing. It's fun to watch hockey again. So I'm just gonna live in the now. And if we go on a heater and like make the playoffs and we're like second in the Pacific, because I don't think we're gonna get ahead of Edmonton or Vegas. And like if we somehow like actually are respected the rest of the season, then I mean whatever happens, happens. But I think the best thing that we need is the best pick possible. So I'm just gonna say, hey, put a beer in my hand. I'll watch these guys. If we lose, we lose. If we win, I'm gonna enjoy it. So
I was gonna say that might be like the highlight of the Canucks season, is if they get respected. As if like people are like, yeah, you know what? That Canucks team, they turned it around. They're looking all right. They're starting to figure it out. You like to see it. Because I mean, at least for the wild card, they got 28 points before Thursday. They still have to jump Dallas, San Jose, LA, Winnipeg, and Edmonton at the moment for like the second wild card spot, 6 points back. As you mentioned, the Edmonton Oilers are free falling. The Jets, I don't know. I don't think the Jets are really that good outside of Connor Hellebuck. I don't think the Jets are really, and Kyle Connor. I'm obligated to say Kyle Connor is really good.
Kyle Connor is unbelievable.
Yeah,
he's so good. Excuse me. Now I know he's not Patrick Kane. He's not. But whenever Patrick Kane touches the puck, he's a player that scares me. And Kyle Connor's on that level. Whenever he has the puck, I'm scared something's going to happen because he's so dynamic and he's like a prolific 30-goal scorer. So,
well, I told Scott at the beginning of the season, Kyle Connor's going to score 50 goals this year because I think we have $10 on that. So Kyle Connor's going to put up 50, and that's the only reason why him and Hellebuck, but mostly Connor is the reason why I'm interested in the Jets this year. The Winnipeg Jets, that is. Sharks stink. The Stars stink. I think the Kings are okay.
Yeah, the Kings are weird too. They're like this year's usual Minnesota Wild. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Minnesota's consistently mid until this year. Like this year, they're like they can actually be contenders, but they're like always mid, and that's why I think LA has like that's kind of like the position they're in.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know, man. LA has a really bright future ahead of them, and they're gonna suck to play against, especially in a couple of years.
I think if LA can figure out a goalie, like a quick, successor. I don't know if that's Cal Peterson. If they can find like another successor to Quick, I think they're golden. But who knows if that's gonna come anytime soon. So yeah, do you think the Canucks are gonna parlay this success into a playoff spot?
Let me see the standings here.
The Anaheim Ducks are first in the Pacific, which since Scott's not here, I'm obligated to say, well done, Anaheim. Kudos to the Ducks.
Man, talk about something no one saw coming.
No, not even Scott.
No one saw this coming.
No, especially after last season, how brutal they were last season by the end of it.
So the Canucks right now are sitting at 28 points, 6 points out, 6 points behind Edmonton.
Yes.
And 8 points behind Vegas for third. But they have like a game in hand, or they have one more game played. Can they make the playoffs? I'm going to say no. I don't think they make the playoffs this year. And I think they'll get like the sixth, like not the 16th, maybe like the 13th overall pick. Like I think they can get up there. I hope if they don't make the playoffs, I hope they get at least like a lottery.
Yeah.
Like a top 10. But yeah, I don't think they make the playoffs this year, unfortunately. Because I'm like, if you're not gonna like be like really bad, then like make the playoffs. So at least I have like a little bit of fun. But yeah, I don't think they make the playoffs this year, unfortunately.
The other question I wanted to ask you, or at least somebody who pays attention to the Canucks more than I do, why aren't we talking about the Sedins for the GM job more? Like, isn't that where this is all heading to?
I don't think that they're ready. And I think they're more of a like either player development or not necessarily scouting. I don't think they're ready for a GM job, in my opinion. I think they can be second and third, like secondhand guys to the GM, like assistant GMs maybe, but just so like they can give their opinions on certain players and like what they think the team needs. But I don't think they're guys who are ready to call the shots yet.
Like I was thinking, so because technically Rutherford is like the interim GM, but president of hockey ops, right? So Rutherford's calling the shots right now.
Yeah. Stan Smeal just today hired as vice president of hockey operations.
Perfect. That dude sounds like he sounded like he knew what he was talking about. He knew how to impress people. He sounds like he should be there. That sounds like a guy who should be within the Canucks organization. My thing with the Sedins is that 6 months from now, or whenever the season's over, you're going to do your GM search, and who's going to be really available that it's going to be better than what you have in the room already.
Yeah.
Between Rutherford, Schmiel, the Sedins. If I'm missing anybody else, let me know. I don't know if they've hired a new person yet, but that's where I feel
they hired a guy from the Ducks. I forget his name, unfortunately.
No, but I was gonna say this is just where it all just seems like it's heading towards. Is that Rutherford is kind of setting the Sedins up to be the next GMs of the team, like the co-GMs or however they want. Henrik's GM. Daniel's assistant. I don't know. I just think that's what's happening with the Canucks. This is what it feels like is happening. And again, Aquilini can get, some more good PR from the team and the fan base of like, hey, the Sedins, they're back. They're here. They're GMs.
Yeah.
Unless you're not interested.
It's definitely something that would turn heads within the city of Vancouver and the league in general. I just don't think they're ready for that role. Maybe in a couple of years' time, but not right now.
They need to hire the new GM, fire the new GM, and then the Sedins can take over that spot.
That's exactly it. Derek Clancy is who we hired.
Is he related to King Clancy? Do we
know? Sure.
Okay.
Sure. Why not?
This has been Insider Trading with Jevon Lefebvre.
That's exactly it.
Other NHL things I wanted to talk about with you. I think the Leafs are legit. Like, I think this Leafs, like, I'm drinking the Kool-Aid with this Leafs team. What are your thoughts on? I should really get Brando on this podcast. What are your thoughts on the Maple Leafs so far this season, and are they contenders?
I think they're contenders. I think they could actually like make a deep run this year. And I know we say this every year, but I just think this team is something about this team that's different. It feels different. Like, they feel a lot more legit. They're like, Campbell's actually proving that last year wasn't just a one-off year. Like, he's actually proven to be like a top 5 goalie this year. I mean, Matthews is doing what he usually does. William Nylander has one of the best contracts in the NHL. They're getting production from like Bunting and Kasha. Their defense is Morgan Riley's been playing really well. TJ Brody's been doing good. I really think that they could go and do something special this year. But I honestly think for them, it's cup or bust. Like, if they just make a run to, like, we made a run to the Eastern Conference, we got past the first round. It's like, no, you guys are like, have been like contenders like, you talk about this is our year, like kind of like the Caps year, you know, like it's Caps year, it's Caps year. Like, they're the past 3 years they've been saying it's our year, it's our year. Matthews, best goal scorer in the league. Marner is one of the best playmakers. Like, Campbell, best in the league. Like, stuff like that. To me, if you don't make it to I'll give you the Eastern Conference Finals. If you don't make the Eastern Conference Finals, it's a disappointment. And I think you guys have part of their fault. Toronto, like the city of Toronto, their fan base, it's part of their fault that they've held themselves to such a high standard. But also, Dubas has put the pieces in place, but when it gets down to crunch time, none of them have been able to produce. So to me, it's Eastern Conference Finals or bust. Like, anything below that is unsuccessful, in my opinion. You guys got to make a run to actually get some late season respect from other teams.
I think here's the thing with them. So if they make the playoffs today, they're playing Florida in the first round and then Toronto in the second round. Like you say, if they beat both of those teams and they go to the Eastern Conference Finals and they lose to, I'm going to say Carolina or Washington, because I don't know if the Rangers are totally legit. If they beat Tampa and Florida but lose to, say, Carolina or Washington, I'm okay with that. Like, I think that's fine if you're the Leafs. Like, I think you can build off that. And I mean, like you said, Bunting's done really well. They essentially just replaced Zach Hyman with Michael Bunting. They moneyballed it, and they just got Bunting in there. The defense, it's a little bit of a mess right now with Jake Muzzin not totally healthy.
Yeah, it's a little thin.
A little thin. Liljegren's been fun to watch this year. Rasmus Sandin's been fun to watch this year. But it's a little thin. I think, like you say, Eastern Conference Finals, they lose to Carolina or the Capitals.
Tampa.
I don't know about Tampa, but I think if you get to the East, if you lose to one of the 3 best teams in the East, I'm okay with that. In the Eastern Conference Finals, I'm okay with that. I think that's fine.
I think it's conference finals or cup finals, and it's a good year. I think you need to get past the second round, in my opinion.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because you guys have had multiple first round exits. So many, like, if you progressed and you've already got to the second round of the finals, it's like, okay, like, you guys have gotten there before. It's just not your year again. But like, it's like, oh yeah, we at least we got past the first round. It's like, you guys, like, congrats. You guys should have got past the first round the past 2-3 years. Actually go on a deep run like you say you're going to go on every single year. TSN gives them a half-hour segment every single episode about how, like, good they are, like, what's bad about them right now, like, tough stretch, Mitch Marner slump again, Matthews, best goal scorer in the league. they won't even play for a week and they'll give them their own segment.
Yeah.
If they're giving themselves that many segments and that much time on air, you'd think they would be like they've won 3 cups in the past 5 years, but they haven't done shit. They haven't done anything. Yeah, you get to the playoffs, but you lose in the first round. You blow a 3-1 series lead to Montreal, who shouldn't have even made to the cup finals. Like, I'm a Habs fan. They shouldn't have done that. Like, Montreal, like, I know this might seem unnecessary, but it's conference finals at least, in my opinion. And if you don't make it to there, I'm still like disappointed with the team.
Speaking of teams I'm disappointed in, how would you fix the Edmonton Oilers?
I was actually talking to my boss at Leo's, and he said Edmonton should trade for Fleury.
Okay.
Fleury might not re-sign in Chicago, and come trade deadline, if Chicago's not in position to make the playoffs or go on a run, would you give up a first rounder for Marc-Andre Fleury?
If you're Ken Holland, I think you would. That's probably the best first round pick. That's a safe Ken Holland move to give up a first round pick is for Marc-Andre Fleury instead of giving up assets for a Duncan Keith whose legs are long gone. That's a safe first round pick to trade. That's a safe bet to make.
Come playoff time, do you trust Mike Smith and Mikko Koskinen?
No.
And Fleury has 3 cups under his belt, and you watched like what he did in Vegas. He won a Vezina last year, and he's playing very well right now. And Edmonton, like you can't waste any more of McDavid and Draisaitl's years, or else you're gonna want out. You got to make some sort of run in the playoffs. Why not trade for Fleury? Get some goaltending.
I don't mind that. That's like a safe bet for the Oilers.
Or make a trade for Shane Gostisbehere.
For Ghost?
Or Jacob Chychrun. Trade for Chychrun.
Chychrun is a better option, I think. Chychrun's like a safer option.
Trade for Chychrun.
There you go. That I would be down for. I think do both. Yeah. Fuck it. Do both if you're the Oilers. Trade for both of those guys.
Yeah.
Trade your, bottom 6 that isn't contributing, or throw in like a Kyler Yamamoto and get both of those guys. Who says no? Why wouldn't you? Go all in. Go almost like a Mark Bergevin, kind of putting your what on the table like he did last off season of like not this season, but the season before with Montreal, and like going out and getting like Josh Anderson. Ken Holland needs to put his what on the table and just go for it with McDavid and Draisaitl and the Oilers.
Yeah, no, I agree. Or trade for the number 1 trade bait, Ben Sherratt, baby.
I like Chychrun more, I think.
Yeah, same here. I agree.
Finally, I want to know what's an underrated team this year that you really like, or who's a team that you want to throw a little love to here while you got a chance.
Can I go through the?
I'll tell you mine, because I've actually really enjoyed watching the Blues this year.
Yeah.
The
Blues, like Jordan Kyrou.
There was talk about Kyrou getting some Team Canada love. And
I don't think he makes it, but I don't hate it.
I don't hate it either. I was kind of like, yeah, you know what? Makes sense. I see where you're like. I don't know if it's a great argument, but I think you can make an argument for Jordan Kyrou getting in on that team. They got 100 goals, 80 goals against, plus 20 goal differential. They're 10-3-2 at home this year. Jordan Binnington, people love him, people hate him. He's been entertaining to watch this year. I need more. I think what I need with Binnington is like more stick swinging, more like taking shots at dudes next. Like, I think that's what I need from Binnington. Like, he's kind of like the wrestling heel. Like, if he's gonna play this role, he needs to really dive into it.
Yeah, I agree. A team, they're like doing really bad this year, but I think Ottawa's future is really bright. And seeing like Drake Batherson, Josh Norris, Brady Tkachuk, Thomas Chabot, like that's like a fun team to watch. And they just beat Florida 8-2, which is like an anomaly. Like, that's not going to happen every single time. but they're still like their prospects are really fun to watch, and like you can see that they've built that team right, in my opinion. And yeah, they're just they're fun. They're a fun team to watch, and I think that they're going to be fun to watch for the future, in my
They're
opinion.
hot right. They're hot right now.
Yeah. So
I think
they're
I was gonna say I think they won like 5 straight or something like
yeah,
before they lost the other night.
like they're doing really like they're not doing good right now. They have 19 points. Like
Yeah.
like they're doing terrible, but I think that their bright spots are really performing. And I guess now I can say Vancouver, but they're like talk of the league right now, so it's not really an underrated
Not an
thing.
underdog. Kind of an underdog in a way.
Kind of an underdog, but it's not like they're not really an underrated team. They haven't really slipped under the radar because they've been the talk of the league right now. So
That's fair.
yeah, I don't
Uh,
know any because what Minnesota maybe
I was gonna say Minnesota, Nashville, Calgary.
Calgary's always gonna be boring to watch for me. I don't like watching Calgary games. I don't know why.
I think I can tell you why the Daryl Sutter effect.
Yeah, I don't know what it is. I just can't watch Calgary games.
Is it because of all the former Canucks players who are on the Flames?
No, it's just something about watching Calgary play. It's just I never.
I don't think. Here's the thing. I don't think nobody outside of Calgary really likes or is rooting for Calgary. That's the thing.
Yeah, I don't really know. Yeah, I don't really know what to do with that with the Flames. I'll just never really get on board with them.
Calgary definitely seems like a team. Like Calgary is definitely giving me upset team that gets upset in the first round.
For sure.
Cal or Anaheim.
Yeah.
Don't tell Scott I said that. Calgary, Anaheim. Let's throw it over to our mailbag. We got 2 questions for this
Let's do
mailbag.
it.
World Juniors questions, by the way. Hopefully, these are some easy pickings for you.
Hopefully.
Prediction. This is from a friend of the pod, Callum McDonald. Predictions for World Juniors. How do you think Bedard will perform? So that's kind of a 2-part question. I guess predictions like maybe player or team. And do you think Connor Bedard will do well?
So Canada, I've heard a lot of good things coming from them, and like Shane Wright, I'm expecting big things. He's been talking to the town the past couple of years. He's been sought after for a while, so I'm expecting big things from him. I think Canada's in the gold medal game. I always got to throw the States in there because they're usually like bronze medal game or gold medal game. They're never like usually out of both.
Yeah.
So I think US and Canada are finishing top 3. But we were talking about this before we press record, man. Finland. It's something about them like this random year that you never anticipate them winning, they always like pop off. So I could see Finland being in the gold medal game. And I think it will be a Canada US. I don't know the groupings though. I don't know what the groupings are.
So Canada, I think the US, Russia, and Sweden are in the group B, and Canada is in its own group with who the fuck cares and nobody asks. Which I only know this because one of my Albertan friends was asking me about who would be a better game, Russia Switzerland or Russia Slovakia. And I said, as of late, probably Russia Switzerland because Switzerland's been the better junior team.
Yeah.
But it turns out all those games are in Red Deer, so poor soul having to go to Red Deer to watch fucking hockey.
Yeah.
I shouldn't say that. That's cruel to Russia, or that's cool to Red Deer, but really cold. I'm glad it's them going and not me. Here's the official grouping. So Canada is in the same group A, as Finland, Germany, Czech Republic, and Austria. There's a lot of World War II history right in that group. And then group B is the US, Russia, Sweden, Slovakia, Switzerland.
Okay. Alrighty. Yeah. So like you see for Canada, you got Caden Gooley, who's a guy I really liked watching in the juniors last year. And then you got Owen Power, who's just drafted first overall. Then you got Bedard. You got Shane Wright. I've heard a lot of good things from McTavish. Cole Perfetti's loaned from Winnipeg. So I think Canada wins. And as for Connor Bedard, 16-year-olds, he's like being compared to like McDavid right now. Like he could be like insane in the NHL. I think he's like the third or fourth leading scorer on Canada.
Okay.
Kind of thing. Like I don't think he's gonna pop off and like win MVP of the tournament.
Yeah.
Just because he's 16. And he might even be less than like third or fourth on the team, just because the younger guys, they always kind of get bumped down in minutes and stuff. It's like, because I feel like the coach will be like, obviously we need the best chance to win, but you'll get like 2 more of these.
Yeah. I
Right.
kind of feel like with Bedard. Do you remember like a few years ago when like Lafreniere was like a 16-year-old
Yeah.
who like was hardly getting any, like was getting 8 minutes a game of ice time? That's
Yeah.
kind of what I feel like Bedard will be.
That's what I'm thinking too, but I'm like, Bedard might just be thrown out on the power play, and like he might just get a couple points here and there, and then like
He just scores a bunch of Ovi goals.
yeah, kind of thing. So I kind of agree with you. I just don't know if he'll get the ice to really like pop off.
Yeah.
But I think he'll show like flashes of like what people are going to look forward to, but he just won't get enough ice time to like really make it impact.
That's fair. It's a good thing I'm not on the World Junior team, like Canada's World Junior team, because I would just be that guy who's like, you're only 16, you're only 17. Like, how are you so young and so good at hockey?
It's insane. Yeah.
It makes me feel old, honestly. Finally, last question. Will the US win the World Juniors? And me being from the States, I kind of have to say yes. I'm kind of obligated to say yes.
I think they're in the gold medal game.
So there you go. I have the US beating Canada. That's going with my prediction again this year. And I'll say Sweden beats Russia in the bronze medal game.
I'll say Russia beats Finland.
All right, there you go. Actually, I think that's how that works with group teams. So yeah, that probably makes more sense. Jevon, that's all I got for you, man. That's all we got scheduled.
This is fun.
Really fun. Got a few minutes here. Anything you want to plug, promote, share with the SYP listeners?
Well, first of all, Ian, thanks for having me on. It's always a blast coming on the SYP podcast. You can follow my personal at Jevon.Lefebvre on Instagram. That is JEVON.LEFE. B as in Bob, V as in Victor, RE. Twitter is Jevon Lefebvre. I tweet a lot about the Canucks, and I sometimes get into arguments with people about some takes. And then my podcast page at LeftSideHeavy_ on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok, and YouTube channel Left Side Heavy. I post full episode podcasts there and podcast clips as well. Find my podcast on Google, Apple, and Spotify. And yeah, that's about it. We have a Christmas episode coming next Friday with me and my sisters talking about Christmas memories, and then upload every Wednesday. So come listen. Listen.
I was gonna say you did an interview with JPAT a while ago.
I did.
Which makes you higher on the podcast hierarchy than me. But you're basically just working your way into like Canucks Twitter is essentially what you're doing here. And like soon it's just gonna be you, JPAT, Drant, and Rob Williams just tweeting out lines every practice. That's essentially what this is all gonna be.
Just trying to network myself, Ian. A DM never hurts. And the worst thing I've installed into my brain is the worst thing they could say is no.
Yes.
But if they say yes, then it's gold, baby. So yeah, I just reach out. They say yes, and I happened to get JPat for a bit. Got him for about a half hour, and it was awesome. So I've had Ian and Scott on a few times. I've had Ian on a few times. I've had Forsyth. He was a green man.
That was a good. That
For
was
the
a good
Canucks.
one too.
That was a fun episode. So yeah, come listen and reach
Some
out.
some are comparing, Scott and I to Jay Pat and Adam Forsyth. Like some are saying that we are on equal pegging. All five of us, really. Like you, Scott, myself. We're kind of on equal terms, really.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
That's awesome. Glad to hear that. Pretty much this week has kind of been a little chaotic for myself. We got 2 episodes planned next week, including a Formula One podcast. And I think we're doing a basketball podcast as well next week.
Ooh.
Or I think I'll have to confirm with that. Hopefully games aren't postponed because we got a bunch of in-person content we're doing. I'm going to the Canucks Ducks game on the 23rd if that happens. Kraken Canucks on 27th. And I think I'm going to the Seahawks game against the Lions January 2nd. Real money was actually paid to go watch the Lions and the Seahawks.
That is unbelievable.
It really is. It's a long story, but yes, it's unbelievable. You know where to find my stuff, our stuff. You can, be sure to like this video on YouTube, subscribe to the channel, check us out on Spotify, Apple, wherever you get your podcast. And we'll be back again soon. Peace out.
Peace.